Hey guys, welcome back for some more tutorials. I am Magnet, the host of this channel or show or whatever you want to call it, and today we're going to be looking at using constant aggression against Protoss as a Terran. So the little bullet points that I have highlighted are macro, and that is capitalized and everything because, well, everything is capitalized, but it's big capital letters and an exclamation point, because the only way this works is if you're able to stay on top of your macro, keep replenishing units, keep making SCVs, keep taking bases, etc. It's the only reason, that's the only way stuff like this works. So you need to always remember that that's what fuels the fire. Also, the only way this aggression works is if you control your units properly and if you shift your compositions according to what the Protoss is doing. So we'll talk about that in game, and here we are. We're taking a look at MMA, and he's fighting San. And this is so funny because MMA is known to turtle really hard in this matchup, so to see him putting on aggression is very different. May catch San off guard a little bit, but nevertheless, we're going to show you some options as far as how to get that done. Now let's think about this as a Protoss for a second. If you're Protoss, what you typically want to do against Terran is you want to get out Colossus or Templar. And those are going to be your best ways to defeat most of what Terran can bring at you. But you're sore to all these different types of timings because you don't have a lot of units while you're getting to those, and you have to rely on your overcharge from your mothership core in order to make that happen. So from a Terran, if you can make them waste that overcharge energy, then you're going to be in great shape, and that's going to be kind of the part of the theme as far as getting this constant aggression to work. Now, MMA looks like the normal Reaper build, right? This doesn't look anything unusual for this matchup. We've seen this so many times, but MMA is going to do something a little bit differently. He's going to drop an immediate reactor as soon as he has the gas, and there we go. And he actually messed up and did a tech lab first, but nevertheless, he's going for a reactor, and he can start a command center behind this. And he will do that after his second depot, of course. But this play is going to be for starting out with a fair number of Reapers. By the way, MMA is blocking the Nexus for a while, just trying to be as irritating as possible. But the Reapers are now on the way, and he's going to start his command center as soon as he has the money, so he's just waiting for that to come up. And the whole idea here throughout this entire game is just going to keep Protoss on his side of the map and continue to pressure him over and over and over and counter the units that he brings out until he's dead. So we're going to see that quite a bit here through these next couple of games. Notice there's going to be a second pair of Reapers on the way, so he's going to go up to 4, and this usually won't do a ton other than just keep the Protoss on their side of the map while having enough units to, keep everything together back at home in case they are sending out a lot of attacks. So he's just showing the one Reaper right now. He's keeping the rest of his Reapers back at home, and San in the meantime is going for Blink. This is going to be a quicker Twilight Council just to get Blink up more than likely. Could be for Storm, but that's a little more rare nowadays. But the 4 Reapers are now here, and it says if you want to just sit back and tech, then you're going to have to be careful, because I can start picking off Stalkers here, which he's going to get that one for sure. But at least as long as he doesn't mess up. There we go. Totally like, what is going on with my vision here today? But he does go ahead and take care of that. He does force an overcharge. So this is the first overcharge he's forced, and it was only with the 4 Reapers. He's only lost 1 so far. He's probably going to lose his second one. But if he forces the overcharge, then the next stage of his aggression is going to be really, really strong. So he is starting to build up Marines back at home. He has a second barracks and a third one on the way that's about to be finished. He can start Stim. Sometimes you can start Marauder shells and just hit a Marauder slow timing if you want to do something like that. But the next follow-up, if he goes really quickly, at least before the Mothership Core is going to have enough energy, then that could deal a lot of damage. So the Mothership Core, you should note that the first overcharge is available at about 6 minutes. The next overcharge is available about 9. It takes about 3 minutes to get about 100 energy on the Mothership Core. So you should know these timings. He's already forced 1 at 6 minutes, so he knows that if he hits before the 9-minute mark, then the Protoss will have to rely on his micro. Maybe he'll have to pull probes. He won't be able to just sit back on this Mothership Core and just overcharge and defend easily. So the Reapers have already done their job so far. He does lose 2 Reapers, but that's okay. I mean, they're really designed to try and kill some probes here and there if he can, kill a Stalker here and there if he can, but more importantly, if he forces the overcharge, then he's done his job. So he killed a Reaper with that. He killed a couple of probes. You can see he actually killed 5. So the Reaper opener really strong, and he's starting to build up his forces back at home. He has Stim on the way. He has a Marauder building, or at least he should have 2 of them building. Yeah, there we go. So he has 2 Marauders being built at a time and 2 Marines at a time. Here comes his little second push out. He's going to start destroying the rocks here, just to try and defend a little bit from the Protoss aggression, because he knows Blink is on the way. So he might have to spend some time defending from that. But also, if he puts the pressure on the Protoss, then the Protoss won't be in position to defend against stuff like this, especially if he's getting Blink and moving across the map. So that's part of the reason why he's doing this. But the second stage of pressure is coming up here. can see if he hurries, he can get there before 9 minutes. And if we check out the mothership core, it's still got a little ways to go before it's going to have the rest of that energy to get this up. So maybe he can force another overcharge, and maybe he can keep his units outside of San's base and wait for Stim to finish, and then go in once the overcharge is expired on the Nexus. So heading in now is MMA. If you can pick off any units here, that's a great help. That's why Marauder Slow would be really good. You could pick off the Stalker for free. And he wants to force this overcharge here without losing any units. So he's going to continue to pressure up here. And San is like, oh man, I don't have a lot of units right now. I need to drop this overcharge if I'm not getting too greedy. So MMA needs to be careful. He doesn't want to just throw these units away. He can try and trade by killing sentries and stalkers and stuff, but he doesn't want to just get rid of them. He's still continuing to rally forward, and this is going to be a theme throughout all these games, is that despite all the aggression he's doing here, and like I said in the beginning part of the video, the only way this works is if you keep up on your macro. So you'll note that if you're looking out here on the map, if you just select your barracks, then you don't have to look back at your base to produce. You could just press these buttons on your keyboard and keep your vision centered on your army. Same goes for making SCVs. The only way this works is if you can make SCVs and continue to make units and rally them forward. Otherwise, your pressure's just going to fizzle out and it's not really going to work. So he's continuing to pressure here. He wants to bait this Nexus Cannon, and he wants to not lose any units if he can help it. So he baited the Nexus Cannon. That should be his cue to run away. Now he has Stim done, so he's kind of trapped between the force fields and the Nexus Cannon. So at this point, all he really needs to do is just try to trade the best he can. But now he needs to know that the next overcharge probably won't be available until about 12 minutes. So we can see on the timer here. He's continuing to try to kill Zealots. He can pick off sentries here. And if you have enough stuff, especially with Stim, he's getting really good trades here. You can pull these off and try to trade against the probes. But ultimately, just running away and saving the units is never a bad idea. Now the next timing is going to come when the medevacs are ready. And based upon what San is seeing so far, look at how few units he has. He only has these 3 units. He has 2 Immortals in production right now. There's no Colossus Den, or rather Colossus Bay, or whatever, Colossus Den, whatever you want to call it, that building that lets you mix Colossus. He doesn't have any of that on the way, so his tech is way behind, and he's going to have a hard time holding these follow-up and continual pushes from MMA. So MMA is just going to hang out here, back at home. Because he's keeping the Protoss on his side of the map, he can start a 3rd command center. His starport's on the way to start getting medevacs. And anytime the Protoss tries to push out here, the Stim is going to be a lot stronger against a complete lack of area of effect damage from the Protoss. So San's starting to look a little desperate here, getting double forge, trying to desperately catch up in upgrades. MMA's upgrades aren't amazing, but he is going to have +1 and probably medevacs out there by the time the next attack comes. He's going to go home for a little while. He doesn't want to stay out there forever, because if he starts to get run over by force fields and blink and whatnot, then he'll be in trouble. But still, he's going to want to keep the pressure on, assuming he thinks it's safe. So units coming back home right now. The Colossus Bay is finally on the way for San. You can see it building right here. And by the time medevacs are out, now MMA can start thinking about doing stuff like drops. His +1's going to be finished as well, so he'll have an upgrade lead for a little while. And because he's able to keep up this constant aggression, he's already gotten really good trades to start off this game. So we'll fast forward a little bit. So you can see medevacs are on the way. You can even rally them to your army if you wanted to start running out on the map. And he loads up 2 drops right now, so this can be the next part of your aggression, is trying to make him mess up with drops. If you can kill a lot of probes, maybe you can kill some tech like this Twilight Council, or if the Robo is exposed or something, you could get that. This doesn't have to kill him, and like I said, this is going to be constant aggression. This isn't just do it once and then hope it works out. This is doing it over and over and over and being smart about it. So the double drop is loaded up right now. I think San might spot this with the probe that he has positioned out here, and yeah, he should have seen that. So he might be able to deal with this okay, but as long as he doesn't lose anything, then there's really no penalty for doing it. So MMA is still just kind of hanging out here. I didn't even see where those medevacs went. Oh, they're just right here. Alright, my bad. So medevacs still just kind of waiting, and now you can start being aggressive on 2 fronts. If there's too much stuff out in front here, and you can't fight it with this army, you can just run that away, and then you can use the drop back at home. Now we know, we know that the overcharge should be ready once again, so there is 1 overcharge available, because you know the timer right now. It's 13 minutes, so the drop comes down. Should more than likely see an overcharge at least at one of these bases during all this aggression. Geez, I keep doing that. So he has to warp in here back at home. He gets a free pylon. There are zealots coming in here, which he can micro against and kill fairly easily. And again, he baits the overcharge. So now there's not going to be another one ready for until probably 15 minutes. You can keep up on that timer. So So the second part of the attack is coming in here, and of course you can reunite these forces if you really need to and push in one place. But when they have Colossus and force fields and stuff like this, there probably won't be too much that you can do unless you can get them to mess up. So right now, his aggression really is just keeping the Protoss on 2 bases while MMA takes his third here. This doesn't, again, it doesn't have to be to just to walk up there and kill him. It has to just be continual aggression to keep the Protoss on the back foot and give you an advantage. Now, because he knows there's Colossus out, this is what I'm talking about, shifting your composition to respond to theirs. He's starting up with Viking production, and because he's mining on a 3rd base, you wouldn't mind to see a 2nd starport come down and produce 3 or maybe 4 Vikings at a time to just absolutely crush this Colossus play. And if you can do that, then winning against vanilla gateway units will be really easy. So, continuing to shift his composition is MMA. Of course, he's continuing to macro back at home, keeping his SCVs going. You can see his production is always going. Keeping his upgrades going, finished his armory up. He has 2 engineering bays now. There's a 2nd one behind his mineral line here at the natural. And the Protoss is still just on 2 bases. He's having a really hard time getting a 3rd because of all this aggression that MMA is just pouring on him. And if he starts to get too aggressive and you get good enough surface area, you can see here's part of the army here. You can spread this up into 2 different groups. And if you get so much surface area on this army that the force fields can't hold everything, then you could just kill him right there. So Protoss will eventually have to venture out, and will have to start trying to take a 3rd base, otherwise they're never going to catch up. So MMA is continuing to keep him on the back foot here with this constant upheld aggression, continuing to rally stuff forward. You can see a big group coming forward right now. And again, he's still just shifting his composition to what he needs to do to respond against these Colossus. Spreading out right now is MMA. Look at the army spread right now. So if Protoss does decide to come down and take this 3rd, he's going to get basically a full surround on him, and he's going to deal a lot of damage. So 3rd base comes down now, and it's way behind. MMA is really far ahead in economy right now because of this. And because he's starting to venture down right now, MMA just has to wait, and as soon as he finds the right timing, he can stim in here from all sides, and here we go. There's no way force fields are going to be able to hold all this off. He does have a couple of mines to try and defend the Zealots from coming forward, but this is great trades here from MMA. If he can even just cancel this Nexus and get out, that'll be a victory in and of itself. But any Colossus he can pick off as well are a huge win. Vikings come up now, start wasting the Colossus, and we have to think, yes, MMA had a great fight there. That was a great spread, etc., etc., but this position was only possible because of his repeated stages of aggression. If you were just to try this randomly throughout the game, it probably wouldn't have worked as well because he wouldn't have had the different stepping stones to get to this point. So we can see this game only goes on for another few seconds because this is going to be game ending. So this is a great example of using constant aggression to keep the Protoss kind of contained into their base and then punish them really hard when they come out. So that was an absolutely outstanding game from MMA, and if you do that against most Protoss players, you're going to really kill them pretty hard. Let's take a look at a little higher level game. This is going to be between Maru and Deer, and this is going to be a situation where the aggression isn't as out of control, but still you can keep up 3 base aggression against 3 base Protoss. And if you respond properly and if you control properly, then you're going to get a great advantage. So we'll watch this game on pretty fast speed because this is a long game, but still it'll give you guys an idea of how to control your army, how to position, how to change your composition. And Maru especially is one of those players that will just keep throwing stuff at you over and over and over and over and over and over until you eventually mess up and die. So if you ever want to watch really good games as far as constant aggression, Maru is probably #1 on that list for learning how to do stuff like that. So Maru is going to open up with a Reaper. He's not going to do what MMA did and go 2 Reapers at a time. He's just going to go with 1. This is a lot more common just to scout and make sure you're not getting cheesed by anything. So this is going to be quite the same, but he is going to engineering bay block. And that's going to slow down the Protoss quite a bit because they have to bring down a unit to kill this. And if there's a probe down there or something, this Reaper can kill it. It's really frustrating to deal with stuff like this. So this can kind of be a form of aggression. You'll notice he's not finishing it because he wants to be able to cancel it once it starts to get attacked. And Deer's going to come down here and be like, oh man, this sucks. And the Reaper can kill the probe and just walk away. So this is a pretty cool little play that you can mix into your own games every once in a while. You want to be aware that some people will abuse the fact that you don't usually make another engineering bay immediately after this one gets canceled. So they might go for like Dark Templar or Oracles or something, so just be on the lookout for that. But this is still a really cool play that you can use. And notice that Maru goes up to 3 barracks really fast again, just like the last game. And what was I just talking about? I was just talking about the fact that a lot of people won't remake their engineering bay after that. And the Protoss can abuse that by going Dark Shrine. So it's exactly what we're seeing here. Kind of funny that we just mentioned that. So, up comes everything. Maru's getting stim. Again, he's on these 3 barracks. He needs to add a tech lab here more than likely. Probably just missing that for the time being. And he just starts a Marine, so... Either way, he knows that some aggression can be following this up here, considering he decided to engineering bay block. So he's going to stand his units between one base and the other. And you'll notice that he is rebuilding his engineering bay there in the back. So if he gets turrets up quickly enough, he can stop this. He's also putting up an extra bunker here in his main base, possibly to defend against Blink. But you can always rescan just to double check to see what's going on here. And I don't know if he actually saw this or not. Yeah, I think he must have figured that there probably would have been something on the map by now if it was Blink, but that was kind of a weird cancel. Either way, this is just going to get him into that point. We'll start getting up to the point of the constant aggression. He does have a turret up, so he can stop any aggression like this, rather the DT counter. Does kill a few workers, no big deal. Now Maru, once his stim is done, he can start thinking about being a little bit more aggressive, but sometimes you will have to play a little bit defensively. So the aggression doesn't have to be right away. It can be a little bit later if you feel the need to defend yourself against from some things. So stim is now done. He can start getting out on the map. And again, he wants to start trying to manage this mothership core energy. If he can make the mothership core waste overcharges and not really kill anything with it, then that's going to be awesome for him. Secondarily, if the Protoss is just sitting in their base, you can just take a third and just build your aggression off of 3 bases. So we'll continue to see this game develop, and you can see Maru starting his 3rd command center now. Deer back at home. We know that he's going for Colossus and Blink. So Maru, realizing that, starts up a Viking. And he's going to continue to add Vikings to respond to this Colossus. So here comes the first stages of aggression. Usually your first couple of medevacs are going to center the aggression most of the time. You might have to deal with some counterattacks with warp prisms and stuff here, so you need to be willing to keep some units back at home, or just make sure you build up a little bit before you send out again. So now Maru forces the overcharge. He's still going to try to get good trades against this. If you can kill the mothership core, that'll obviously be fantastic. Maru's still just trying to kill the Nexus, and now that he realizes he's not going to get good trades anymore, he just backs away. So the Protoss did defend here, but Maru really didn't lose that much. He has a faster command center, and because he didn't lose too much and he's got an economic advantage, then that fight was totally fine. So he's going to head back home. Defending the warp prism here is Maru, doing really well with that. Fast forward a little bit up until the point where Maru starts to get more aggressive once again. And you can see him coming. Jeez, I don't know what the deal is with my mouse today, but it's just flying all over the screen. Here's a big drop from Maru, and this could be his next stage of aggression here, is just to kind of mess up Deer in case he's not really paying attention too much to these drops. So medevacs are coming down right now. Let's see, starting to scout out there with their factory, landing a 3rd base here, starting to get that economic advantage. Deer has his 3rd already started, so what Maru can do, especially on maps like this, is he can run in here and try to cancel this. And if Deer's army comes down, or if his army's sitting right here, Maru can just pick up in his medevacs and go into the main instead. But you do need to be careful about, groups of Blink Stalkers and stuff like that. So Maru, just as long as you're just poking around and not losing anything, then that's fine. Because sometimes you're going to get situations like this where you can pick up a free Nexus kill because there's nothing here. So you can get that easily, and he can lift into his medevacs or just run away normally. Can't turn around and fight just a little bit, but the whole idea is just to get out of there the best you possibly can. And he doesn't lose too much, and he picks up a Nexus cancel. So Maru's, again, ahead in economy because he's willing to be aggressive at this stage of the game. So now, because Deer is completely out of position, and because Deer is really worried about stopping this army, he's going to do a big double drop here in the natural. And you can continue to pull Protosses apart with stuff like this. If you drop in the natural and they come to respond to it, then you can maybe run back in here and cancel this Nexus again. You can drop into the main, perhaps. There's a lot of different avenues, and the whole idea is just keeping this army alive. So he forces the overcharge once again. He gets the Templar Archives, and he lifts out of there. Doesn't lose too many units, and then the army is so far pulled away for Deer that he could maybe come in here and cancel this again. That's exactly what he does. So again, he's not losing too much. He's killing tech, he's canceling Nexuses. This is going really well for Maru right now. So we'll go ahead and fast forward just a little bit. So Maru starts to regather his forces. And you can see there's going to be a large drop here on the side. So this drop here on the side is going to be huge. It'll force Deer to react once again. And if he overreacts and pulls his entire army, this base could get canceled again. So you see Maru start to set that up. This time he's thinking about coming in from 2 sides, just like we saw in the previous game from MMA. He's trying to surround this army if he starts to mess up a little bit. So, stimming forward, he's going to try and cancel this Nexus. If Deer is out of position right now, he can stim from the other side and get a full surround, or he could just run into the natural and try to kill this Nexus, maybe kill this Mothership Core, maybe kill the Templar Archives. There's a lot of opportunity here, and as long as he keeps these 2 armies alive, then he's going to be in great shape. So, trying to cancel this Nexus. You obviously don't want to overcommit. If you realize you're not going to get it, you do need to fall back. Because he's starting to fall back, all of a sudden the Colossus are exposed. There's no Zealots or Stalkers there to protect him. You can start to focus down a lot of Colossus with this Bio army. Now all of a sudden it's Bio versus Gateway units. And even though Maru can't quite win the game right then, getting 3 Colossus and still not losing anything back at home is the more important thing. He's going to continue to grow his advantage here. See, worker count does favor Maru by about 11, or rather by 9. So he's in really great shape. And again, all this is only possible because Maru is able to continue to do everything that he needs to do back at home, such as making units, making SCVs, making the proper transitions. Now he realizes that he killed the Colossus, so he probably doesn't need any more Vikings. So he's restarted medevac production. And he's starting to add on a Ghost Academy, wherever that is. Let's see if we can get it to center. I don't know what this is doing. I swear my game's just going crazy right now. But he's adding on the Ghost Academy just because he knows that the follow-up is probably going to be Storm eventually. So we know that Storm is on the way. He did also cancel the Templar Archives earlier, so he knows that Deer wants to go for that. So this is him just continuing to mold his unit composition while continuing to stay aggressive. You'll notice that the furthest the Protoss has ever gotten out on the map is right here, whereas Maru has been all over in the entire game. So Maru pushing out once again. Now there's basically no area of effect damage until Storm is finished, so Maru can start being really aggressive against this. And he's starting to poke up here, seeing what he can get as far as Stalkers, microing back against the Zealots a little bit. If they start to stay on a lot of Zealots, you can start to compensate with more mines. More importantly, he's just trying to get the best trades possible while not really losing too many units. So he's doing a great job here. Notice the supplies are favoring Maru by a lot. And that's going to continue to grow as long as he continues to control this correctly. So Maru doing a great job knowing when he can push his advantages and when he can't. And he can push the advantages, of course, when there's no area of effect for Protoss right now. And he killed the Observer over here, so Deer has no idea what's going on. And now he's starting to load in for a drop. So this is continued aggression, trying to pull the Protoss apart in multiple different directions. Oh, he needs to be careful and not get fed back there, so he does just drop out of there. Again, control is what a lot of this is about as well. Just trying to keep stuff alive, keep the pressure on. It's kind of an interesting dance here, but now Ghosts are starting to be added into the mix now that he's seen Storm come down. So more Storms. Like we've talked about in another video, you can't afford to just blindly attack into Storms here. It's going to be a little bit about what's going to be, or rather the way to deal with Storm if you have Ghosts on the field now. We've talked about it a little bit in another video, but we're going to see it here again. So Maru's still just staying right on top of the Protoss here, not really losing too much. And looks like a Ghost was misrallied there. That was kind of a shame. Now he starts to see Colossus once again, so he's starting to add Vikings. You can see his production for Vikings start up immediately as soon as he sees the Colossus. He's just staying right on top of him and trying to dodge his way out of Storms, EMPing when he can, getting as good of fights as possible. And like I said, this isn't all just about killing him in one fell swoop. This is about just continuing to get these fights over and over. And if you do it the right way, if you keep your army alive, and if you trade as good as possible, you're eventually going to get to a point where they just can't win. Vikings are probably going to kill that Colossus. One Viking has like no health. It dies. But Maru's still doing a really great job here. And more importantly, let's take a look at Maru taking a base behind this as well. So continuing his macro is what's really keeping him in this these attacks. So this is going to go on for quite a while, but eventually Maru is going to wear him down. So we're going to watch this on fast forward just a little bit. More attacks coming up here. You can see the EMPs on the Templar, really doing well with the Ghost. Now the Zealots are pretty out of position. He could even redrop into the main if he wanted to. Lots of different opportunities. Looks like that's what he wants to do, actually. So it's still being very annoying, trying to hit from every single angle. And of course, you don't want to lose these units. You can't just load up and get out of there if you really need to. Or in this case, Maru just likes to trade the best he can. So mining back at home here. Deer has a 4th done, but he's not really mining from it because he has to spend so much attention trying to hold this off. Now supplies are starting to equalize, and you're wondering, well, Maru's aggression hasn't really worked, right? But Maru has Deer down to 1 Colossus, and he has him down to 1 Templar that isn't even really Storm ready. So he needs to continue the aggression here if he wants to stay ahead in this game. So Vikings starting to take some hot shots at the Colossus. There is a cannon here just to prevent against Cloak, so you can focus that down. Maru is just continuing to try and pick him apart the best he can. I know this video is going really long, but I hope you guys are enjoying seeing Maru kind of play to his strengths here. You can see he's not, he's backing up here, but he's still keeping the aggression on somewhere. So here comes a drop over on the side. Going to be able to kill this Nexus more than likely, and down it goes. And then on the other side, because he wasn't paying attention, he kills another Nexus. So yeah, little plays like that just to pull him apart here and get the army out of position, doing really well for Maru. And all of a sudden, Deer is on really one mining base. His main is mined out, and he has to rebuild 2 bases at once, and that's so terrible. Going to give Maru a huge advantage in the later stages of this game, and all this is really going to take now is one big fight to end the game. So it seems silly, it seems annoying that you have to put on all this aggression and repeated aggression in order to wear Protoss down, but to be totally honest here, Deer is one of the best defensive players in this matchup, and if Maru were playing any other caliber player other than super top level, the Protoss would have died by now anyway. So if you can run stuff even somewhat similar to this, as far as keeping aggression on and knowing when you can push your advantages and how to trade and how to pull them apart and kind of move them across the map, how to respond with the right compositions, this is kind of the fundamental way to play against Protoss. And the really good TvP players will play exactly like this. So this game's starting to wind down just a little bit because Deer's mining is just so bad. All Maru really needs right now is just one big fight to go his way, and he'll be totally fine. He more importantly just doesn't need to, he needs to not eat a lot of storm damage and a lot of Colossus damage, so just microing out of the storms here is really his only goal. Gonna kill this Nexus once again. He can even just back off once again, which he's gonna do. If they're ever chasing like this, EMPs are gonna be enormous, so he just EMPs everything. Vikings are killing Colossus. There's really only Zealots left, and eventually he's gonna be able to wear this down. You can see Deer starting to crumble quite a bit. So really down to scraps here, but this game goes on for another few minutes because Maru needs to wait for another couple rallies in order to finish this game off. But that's the whole idea here, is just keeping the pressure on, keeping the Protoss on the back foot, keeping their unit counts low, and getting in there when the Protoss can't defend quite as well. We'll just watch the rest of this game just to finish this video out. We're about done here, but I hope you guys, like I said, are enjoying this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed the way that Maru is playing this out. You can see that supplies still favor Maru by a little bit, but the tech is just so much better for Maru. And the mining for Deer is just abysmal right now. You can see Maru's economy is about double Deer's. So more little multi-pronged things to try and get the army out of position. Since the army's all the way over here, the second army can come in here and really do a lot of damage and maybe cancel this base once again. So Maru doing a fantastic job. And again, the whole idea, just keep these units alive while you're putting this pressure on. And there we go, he cancels the base, gets out of there. And eventually Deer is going to die, because he just can't keep up with this type of aggression, especially if he has no economy. And Maru continuing to respond properly to the Protoss composition. So more micro tricks, kind of cutting off the Zealots with the rocks there, kind of a cool play. The next rally here, I mean, there's really no way that Deer is going to be able to hold this. Maru's up by 50 supply now, EMPs all over the Archons. And yeah, Maru playing an outstanding game here, and doing another drop here over at the other side as well, so just relentless aggression. Absolutely a pleasure to watch. And as I'm sure we're all watching the game timer here just thinking, oh, this game needs to end, But yeah, we can see that it's really boiling down to the last few units, and Maru continuing to get good trades here, so yeah, there's the GG. So I hope you guys enjoyed that game, and I hope this at least gave you guys some good ideas as far as how to run aggression in this matchup, and the different ways you can try to pick Protoss apart. I hope that I didn't overstate too much how well Maru was doing in that game, because against any other caliber of player, they would have died a long time ago. And this is one of the most frustrating things to play against as a Protoss player, is having to just sit on your side of the map and not die the entire game. So if you know how to do it, and if you can do it right, you're going to wreck Protosses. So hope you guys enjoyed that. I'll be back for more videos, and I will see you later.